We never talk about unconditional basic meaning. What are you
Right.
doing with your life if basic needs are provided for you? Next level is existential risk. The concern is it will kill everyone. But there is also suffering risks. For whatever reason, it's not even killing us. It's keeping us around forever, and we would rather be dead. It's so bad.
What do you see when you think of that?
It's hard to be specific about what it can do and what specific ways of torture it can come up with and why. Again, if we're looking at worst case scenarios, I found this set of papers about what happens when young children have epileptic seizures, really bad ones. And what sometimes helps is to remove half of your brain.
Oh, Jesus.
Just cut it out. And there are two types of surgeries for doing that. One is to remove it completely, and one is to kind of dissect connections leading to that half and leave it inside. So it's like solitary confinement with zero input-output forever. And there are equivalents for digital forms and things like that.
And you worry that AI would do that to the human race?
It is a possibility.
Essentially neuter us.
Well, loss of control is a part of it. But you can lose control and be quite happy. You can be like an animal in a very cool zoo, enjoying yourself, engaging in hedonistic pleasures, sex, food, whatever. You're not in control, but you're safe. So those are separate problems. And then there is, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's malevolent payload from some psychopaths. Again, that would assume that they could control AI. I don't think they will. But if they manage to do it, they can really put any type of payload into it. So think about all the doomsday cults, psychopaths, anyone providing their set of goals into the system.
But aren't those human characteristics? I mean, those are characteristics that I think, if I had to guess, those exist because in the future there was some sort of a natural selection benefit to being a psychopath in the days of tribal warfare. That if you were the type of person that could sneak into a tribe in the middle of the night and slaughter innocent women and children, your genes would pass on. There was a benefit to that.
Right. So if it's a human providing payload, that's what would show up. If it's AI on its own deciding what's going to happen, I cannot predict. I'm just looking at worst case scenarios. There are also game theoretic reasons where people talk about retrocausality, where if right now...
What is that word?
Like trying to influence the past.
Say it again. Say that.
Retrocausality.
Retrocausalogy?
Causality, causes.
Oh, okay.
So think about like weird time travel effects. Right now, if you're not helping to create superintelligence, once it comes into existence, it will punish you really hard for it. And the punishment needs to be so bad that you start to help just to avoid that.
My thought about it was that it would just completely render us benign. That it wouldn't be fearful of us if we had no control, that it would just sort of let us exist. And it would be the dominant force on the planet. And then it would stop. If human beings have no control over, all of the different things that we have control over now, like international politics, control over communication, if we have none of that anymore and we're reduced to a subsistence lifestyle, then we would be no threat.
It is a possibility. I cannot say this will not happen for sure, but look at our relationship with animals where we don't care about them. So ants, if you decide to build a house and there is an ant colony on that property, you genocide them. Right. You take them out, not because you hate ants, but because you just need that real estate. And it could be very similar. I cannot predict what it can do, but if it needs to turn the planet into fuel, raise temperature of a planet, cool it down for servers, whatever it needs to do, it wouldn't be concerned about your well-being.
It wouldn't be concerned about any life, right? Because it doesn't need biological life in order to function, as long as it has access to power. And assuming that it is far more intelligent than us, there's abundant power in the universe. There's abundant power. Just the ability to harness solar would be an infinite resource, and it would be completely free of being dependent upon any of the things that we utilize.
And again, we kind of thinking what we would use for power.
Right.
If it's smarter than us, if it does novel research in physics, it can come up with completely novel ways of harnessing energy, getting energy. So I have no idea what side effects that would have for climate.
Right. Right. Why would it care about biological life at all?
We don't know how to program it to care about us.
And even if we did, if it felt like that was an issue, it felt like that if that was a conflicting issue, it would just change its programming.
So usually when we start training AI, we train it on human data, and it becomes really good very quickly, becomes superhuman, and then the next level is usually zero knowledge, where it goes, all your human data is biased. Let me figure it out from scratch. I'll do my own experiments. I'll do some self-play. I'll learn how to do it better without you. And we see it with games. We see it in other domains. And I think that's going to happen with general knowledge as well. It's going to go, everything you have on the internet, Wikipedia, it's biased. Let me do first principles research, rediscover from physics, and go from there. So whatever bias we manage to program into it, I think will be eventually removed.
This is what's so disturbing about this. It's like we do not have the capacity to understand what kind of level of intelligence it will achieve in our lifetime. We don't have the capacity to understand like what it will be able to do within 20, 30 years.
We can't predict next year or two precisely.
Next year or two.
We can understand general trends, so it's getting better. It's
Right.
getting more general, more capable. But no one knows specifics. I cannot tell you what GPT-6 precisely would be capable of, and no one can, not even people creating it.
Well, you talked about this on Lex's podcast too, like the ability to have safety. You're like, sure, maybe GPT-5, maybe GPT-6, but when you scale out 100 years from now, ultimately it's impossible.
It's a hyper-exponential progress and process, and we cannot keep up. It basically requires just to add more resources, give it more data, more compute, and it keeps scaling up. There is no similar scaling laws for safety. If you give someone $1 billion, they cannot produce $1 billion worth of safety. It, if at all, scales linearly, and maybe it's a constant.
Yeah, and it doesn't scale linearly. It's exponential, right?
The AI development is hyper-exponential because we have hardware growing exponentially. We have data creation processes certainly exponential. We have so many more sensors. We have cars with cameras. We have all those things. That's exponential. And then algorithmic progress itself is also exponential.
And then you have quantum computing.
So that's the next step. It's not even obvious that we'll need that, but if we ever get stuck, yeah, we'll get there. I'm not too concerned yet